Greetings to you, my friends and allies. This is Eric, your course coordinator for OnRamp's Computer Science 302, coming at you today to talk about variables. Variables are placeholders, and they hold values that we can use in our programs and change as our programs are run. The Data tab down here is our go-to spot for creating and manipulating variables. So the first thing I'm going to do is I'm going to make a variable, and we're going to call this one counter. We're going to use the very same user input program that we originally created in the previous tutorial, and what we're going to do is we're going to add an extra function to it. Every time that one of these keys is pressed, we're going to add 1 to whatever the value is inside of this counter variable. In programming, when you first create a variable, we call that declaring the variable. And in addition to declaring a variable, you also need to set an initial value for that variable. We call that initializing. So right here, we have a block that says set counter to 0. And I'm going to drag that out, and I'm going to put it above the forever loop. This is going to initialize the variable one time, and then it's going to run through this forever loop. It's important that this initializing statement is outside of the forever loop. Otherwise, our counter would continually be reset to 0, and it wouldn't be much use to us. When you declare a variable in Scratch, its value will appear on the screen. And I'm going to just change this by right-clicking. I'm going to say large readout so that we can see it more clearly. Our counter is set to 0 to begin with. So this set block is important for initializing a variable. But when we want to change a variable as a program runs, we're going to need this change block right here. So what I'm going to do is I'm going to drag it out, and I'm going to put it inside of these if-then statements. So I want to change the counter by 1 every time a key is pressed. If you'll remember from our previous tutorial, I can right-click a block in order to duplicate it, and that saves me a little time when I am putting this change variable by a certain amount block inside each of these conditionals here. So to recap, what we did is we declared a variable, we called it counter, and we initialized it by setting it to 0 above the forever loop. Then, every time that one of these keys is pressed, we're going to change the variable value by 1. So now let's see how that actually looks. So now I'm going to come over here and I'm going to start the program. And what's going to happen is every time I press up, down, left, or right, it's going to increase the counter variable by 1. But you're going to see something pretty interesting here. Watch this number carefully. We expected that value to just change by 1. However, as I was holding down the right, the left, the up, and the down arrows, this loop right here was running multiple times. That means that it was changing this variable one time. It was adding 1 onto it. However, since it was running so fast, it ended up looking to us like it was increasing the number at an incredible rate. So what did we learn in this tutorial? Well, we learned how to declare a variable, we learned how to initialize a variable, and we learned how to change a variable's value on the fly within a program. Thanks for coming along on that journey. This has been Eric, your course coordinator for OnRamp's Computer Science 302, signing out. Till next time.